How you doing, guys? This is Official Sahar TV, and today I'm reacting to some of my most viral videos on Instagram. Each one of those videos have received more than 1 million views, and we're going to react to them right now. Let's take a look.
I support Palestine.
Can you give me one reason why?
Because what's happening to them is really bad.
What's happening to them?
They're being killed.
Just like in every war.
Yes, but why should there be a war? Why can't there be peace?
Because they started the war.
No, Israel did.
Really? On October 7th, who started the war?
Let's talk about before that. What happened?
They always like to bring it up. It didn't start on October 7th, and of course it didn't start on October 7th. This started in the 7th century when Islam came to be. Islam did not start spreading when it was peaceful. It started spreading when it was violent. Jews were the first target because if the first monotheistic people don't convert to Islam, it's going to be very hard to convince the second people, the Christians. We can always name different occasions that took place before October 7th, such as the Second Intifada, or the First Intifada, or the Ninth Intifada in 2015, or the 1948 war, or the Hebron Massacre in 1929, or the Safed looting in 1834, etc., etc., etc. We can always give more scenarios where Jews were attacked by Muslims only for them being Jews. Let's continue.
Happened. In 2005, the Jews completely disengaged from Gaza and gave sovereignty to the Palestinians. Go ahead, what happened after?
I'm not really sure.
In 2006, they elected Hamas to lead them. In 2007, they started firing rockets to Israel. Tell me why? Because I'm a Jew and I deserve to die according to Islam? Why? What other reason would they have to send rockets to Israel?
It doesn't say in the Quran that Jews are bad or something like that.
Yes, it does.
It says that in an indirect way. What do I mean by that? In the Quran, if you read it, the Jews and the Christians are referred to as the people of the book. Yet the people of the book are still posed jizya, meaning you have to fight them until they pay the jizya. What is the jizya? The jizya is a protection tax. The way you're supposed to pay the jizya is incredibly belittling and humiliating. Their beard was held, and then you have to slap them on both cheeks. That's according to Islamic teachings, not according to my teachings. Islam never treated Jews as equals. It never treated Christians as equals.
Go read Surah 9:29. Fight those who don't believe in Allah and Muhammad, his prophet. I don't believe in Muhammad. That means I'm a kafir. You should fight me.
I'm not going to fight you.
Not you, but Islam will.
Let's read Surah 9:29 from the Quran. Fight those who don't believe in Allah nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which has been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, aka Jews, Christians, and every other person that is not Muslim, even if they are of the people of the book, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. That's in the Quran. She's just misinformed about the whole topic. Let's continue.
But I'm actually for peace. And there are more people dying over at Palestine.
You can't judge what's right and what's wrong.
We'll go back to this. How can you be for peace if you support for the stopping of the war, for the fact that Hamas stays in power, and then Hamas is going to attack again and again, just like they say on all media platforms? If you truly want peace, then Hamas should be removed. If you truly want peace, then Hezbollah should be removed. Don't say stop the war, when the Jews have this threat over their heads all the time. Hamas must be obliterated. Let's continue.
I'm actually for peace. And there are more people dying over at Palestine.
You can't judge what's right and what's wrong according to amount of people dying, because 2 million innocent civilians died when they tried to kill the Nazis. So that means that the Brits were wrong and the Nazis were right? No.
That video is great, and the reason why it did so well, this video I think received 5.6 million views or 7 million views, something like that. And the reason why I think it did so well is because it represents the pro-Palestinian side almost to a T. They're very naive. They have almost no idea about the history and what happened before October 7th. They don't know that October 7th is just the biggest terror attack, but it's certainly not the first one. Let's take a look at the next video. Are you guys from Lebanon?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think Hezbollah should go?
No, Israel should leave.
Israel is exactly where it's supposed to be.
No, it's not.
Notice how I said, don't you think Hezbollah should go? Not Lebanon. Hezbollah, the terrorist organization. And she responded to me with, no, Israel should go. Truly shows her intentions. Yes, it is. Are you guys Muslim?
I'm Muslim.
I'm Druzy.
And you don't remember that Hezbollah killed 12 children in North Israel?
12 children are nothing. They just...
It's this moment she knew. She fucked up. That's the saying. That's the meme.
They're nothing.
So the 12 Druze children that Hezbollah killed are nothing?
I don't care about Druze, okay? I care about Muslim. I don't care about my religion. Just to let you know that Israel is gonna be like gone. It's gonna be gone in a few years. Like
What's going to happen to the children of Israel? What's going to happen to them?
they're gonna all be dead because they deserved it.
You just said that all the children in Israel will be dead because they deserve it. So according to your logic, all of the children in Gaza,
because
all of the children
not the children, not the children.
And she's trying to retract her steps, but it's too late.
You said and
I
it's
meant everyone
recorded.
that support.
Hold on. The children, they know nothing. So you just said that they should be dead
Yeah,
because they deserve
yeah.
it. According to what you said, all the children in Gaza should also be dead because they deserve it for what Hamas did. Right? They deserve it. You said it.
Shocking, horrific video of a girl from Lebanon, a Druze girl who doesn't actually care about the Druze children living in Israel, in a part that used to belong to Lebanon and Syria. She doesn't care about it. And it truly shows the true intentions of these people. This is a religious war. It has always been a religious war. Let's take a look at the next one.
Are you anti-Israel?
I'm anti-Zionist.
Which means anti-Israel.
No, it doesn't.
So you don't believe in the Jewish people having their own state?
No, I do. I
Okay,
do.
so you're pro-Israel.
But Zionism takes it from a racial way.
No.
Because, like, it does.
No, it doesn't.
No one's against Jewish people having their own homeland, Habibi.
So he just contradicted himself within 10 seconds. He said at the beginning that he's anti-Zionist, and then he said after that he's not opposing the fact that Jews can have a homeland, Habibi, meaning he is a Zionist, because if he believes in the right of the Jews to self-determine in Israel, he is one. So how can he be against himself?
Homeland in their ancestral homeland. It's not any homeland. It's where the Jewish people came from.
You have to understand that there's already Jews living in Palestine before 1948. Everyone, like Muslims, Christians, and Jews, they were all living there.
And why were there Jews living in Israel before 1948? Maybe because they had Zionistic ideology. They wanted to be close to where their ancestors used to be, living in Jerusalem, living in Hebron, living in Safed. So the fact that they lived in Israel doesn't turn them into less Zionists. They're the biggest Zionists because they chose to stay here no matter what came their way. The Crusaders, the Mamluks, the Babylonians, the Romans, nothing. They decided to stay.
So when Zionism came in, Zionism emerged as this wave as like, let's just take this land that people are already living on. Let's just make it the way we want it.
Nope.
That is not why Zionism came to be. First of all, Zionism is an idea that has been in existence for thousands of years, but the nationalist movement of Zionism was created because of the emancipation in France, in Europe in general. Theodor Herzl, who was a journalist at the time, went to write about this soldier, Dreyfus, who was trialed for a crime that he didn't commit. And Jews were trying to heavily integrate into the European society. They got a slap in the face after the Dreyfus trial. After the Dreyfus trial, the people in France and the people in Europe were chanting, "Kill the Jews, remove the traitors," and he realized that the Jews are no longer safe. So what did? They started looking for a place where the Jews can feel safe. And where's the best place to do that? Israel, the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people.
And to get media support, to get the world support, we're just going to have only Jewish inhabitants on it.
No, it wasn't like this. There's even an article by Zev Jabotinsky.
It never said only Jewish inhabitants. It said as long as the Jews are the majority, that is perfectly fine. Never only the Jews.
From 1922 called The Iron Wall, where Zev Jabotinsky himself says, "I am known to be hateful towards the Arabs, towards the other nation, but it is simply not true. I do not believe in one nation living in this region. We can only prosper as two nations." He himself said it. The Jewish people, including the Jewish people that lived in Israel, because that's the whole definition of Zionism. If you live in the land of your ancestral homelands, that's what it means. They never wanted to kick anybody out. And if the Arabs would not have started a war in 1948, not a single Arab would have been kicked out.
If there's something people need to understand is that every action has a reaction. If you do terror attacks against the Jewish people in the first and second Intifada, expect to go through checkpoints. If you start a war on October 7th and you do horrific things to our people, including taking hostages, expect a very heavy retaliation against your people. That's going to happen. If you don't want things like this to happen, teach your children peace. Teach your children what it's like to be a good neighbor. Teach your children good values instead of trying to attack a Jewish nation. Because the moment you do, you'll regret it. The problem is that their hatred is a lot greater than the love for their children. And that's a legendary sentence by Golda Meir.
Do you know who is Moses? Who is Musa?
Of course.
He was Muslim.
How does it make sense if that he was Muslim, if it was thousands of years before Islam was an idea?
Mentioned in the Quran, the Holy Book, Jesus. Then after the Prophet Muhammad came.
You are wrong.
Oh my God, this is an argument that is always told by Muslims, that Musa, Moses, Abraham, and Adam, and all these people were Muslims way before Judaism came to be. Why are they saying it? In my opinion, it's to dominate Judaism. It's to say, hey, Islam was here before Judaism. It literally makes no sense that you are considered to be a Muslim, and your book says that in order to be a Muslim, you have to believe in Muhammad, the Prophet. So if you go to any Muslim around you right now and you ask him, hey, are you a Muslim? And they say yes. Do you believe in Muhammad? They say no. Technically, they are not a Muslim. Moses cannot be a Muslim. Abraham cannot be a Muslim. And Adam cannot be a Muslim. Why? Because Islam was not even an idea back then. So this is a lie often told by Muslims. Without lies, Islam dies.
Because in the Quran it says, if you don't believe in Muhammad, the Prophet, you are not considered a Muslim. If I don't believe in Muhammad, then I'm not a Muslim, I'm a kuffar. Surah 9:29. Fight those who don't believe in Allah and Muhammad the Prophet.
Okay, listen. There is also written in Quran that you cannot take innocent life.
That is taken from the Jewish Bible.
And that is funny. That specific surah is Surah 532 in the Quran. It's supposed to be the only term that Muslims use to justify that Islam is a religion of peace. But Islam is not a religion of peace. Surah 532 says this: on that account we ordained for the children of Israel that if anyone slew a person, unless it be for murder or for spreading mischief in the land, it would be as if he slew the whole people. What is mischief in the land? What do you think it means? Mischief in the land is corrupting the land by praying to a different God, or by not believing in Islam, or by waging war on Islam. What I'm doing right now is considered waging war on Islam. So it means that this sentence doesn't even apply to me. So the most peaceful sentence in the Quran is also a really violent one.
You are Yahudi, right?
Yes.
You are Yahudi. Do you know that you are a black spot on this world? Do you know?
The Jewish people are the blackest spot on this earth?
Yes, exactly.
Why are you being anti-Semitic?
Because you haven't seen the blood of that innocent kids.
In Pakistan, do you fight with the people of India, the Hindus that are not Muslim?
No.
What's happening in Bangladesh right now because of religion? What's going on in Bangladesh?
Only Israel is mother.
The Muslims poured a ridiculous amount of blood since the 7th century, and you're calling us...
Then right now what you are doing?
Right now what we are doing is a just war because of what happened on October the 7th, where they killed 1,200 people, including children, including babies, including... They people alive, and they said they're going to do it every single year. This is a just war, and Israel is allowed to fight this just war. Do you agree?
You're allowed to kill
Because you're anti-Semitic.
That's the biggest hypocrisy told by Muslims. They say that the Jews are the biggest colonizers. They say that Jews unalive children. They say all these crazy things about the Jews. But what you don't notice is that every accusation is a confession. The Muslims colonized lands like crazy back in the 7th century. They got all the way to Spain. They named it Al-Andalus. They had khalifas controlling areas that did not belong to the Muslims. Before Islam was violent, nobody joined Islam. What do you think? People joined Muhammad when he was preaching peacefully? That doesn't work that way. When you impose jizya, when you belittle people that are not Muslim, that's when people join. Very peaceful, huh? Now, they also say you kill children. Have you seen what happened in Syria? Have you seen what happened in Congo? Have you seen what happened in Sudan? All these Muslim places, have you seen what happened there? You know how many children die? Have you seen what happened in Yemen? What's happening in Yemen currently as we speak? Children are literally starving, and they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on sending rockets to Israel to destroy the Jews. Why isn't the world outraged? This just shows the hypocrisy of the Muslim world. This is it for today, guys. If you want to watch the rest of the videos, you can go on my TikTok and Instagram account. It's called Official Sahar TV. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, see you.